Greetings, friends. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Hope you're having a great time, having a great day. Speaking, it is Lunga, Mr. Arthur Kumalo. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you are still enjoying this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for the reactions you are giving us. Thank you so much for the love, especially on TikTok. The reaction there is very much welcomed, and it really shows that you people are watching and are enjoying the content that we are bringing. And as always, welcome to a platform where we aim to inspire, equip, and empower you into a transformed living and empowered living. Today we'll be talking on the topic: your future is hidden in your patterns. Your future is hidden in your patterns. I've come to realize that most of us think that the future is shaped by what we want. We think that the future is shaped by our dreams, our plans, our vision board. But the truth is, your future is shaped it's shaped far more by what you repeat than what you desire. It's shaped far more by what you repeat than what you desire. And we really, not all the time, are intentional with what we repeat. I've said this before, we live life on autopilot. We react to most of the things rather than to be responsive to them. And we sometimes think that the things that we just do randomly, that we do, it just happens, we will just land to where we want to be. But unfortunately, life doesn't work like that, Hence, I'm saying, what shapes life, what shapes where we'll get, is the pattern, It's not going to be shaped by our dreams, by our plans, by our vision board. I know I've noticed that most of the people who are successful, they normally mention discipline. They normally mention discipline. Because for one to gain or attain success, one has to forsake living unintentionally. One will have to forsake living, out of comforts. One will have to forsake random patterns and start embracing an intentional living. Start scheduling your days, start scheduling your time, start scheduling where you're heading, Because the uncomfortable insight is this: if nothing changes in your pattern, nothing meaningful will change in your outcomes. If nothing changes in your pattern, nothing meaningful will change in your outcome. No matter how sincere your intentions are. No matter how sincere your intentions are. I know a lot of people who have great intentions but very bad patterns. Their patterns are very bad. Let me make an example. There are people who love the Lord. They love Him so much. There are people who want to become great people in the kingdom, They want to impact people with the word, but they are so inconsistent in their patterns that they start. They are so inconsistent in their prayer life. They are so inconsistent in their reading of the word. They are so inconsistent in their attending Bible studies, their fellowship life. They're inconsistent in a lot of important areas of their life, yet in the end they expect that the desire they have, the great intention they have towards their contribution in the work or in the kingdom will be highly impactful. But unfortunately, if nothing changes in your pattern, nothing meaningful will change in your outcomes, no matter how sincere the intentions are. And patterns are not just habits, they are deeper than that. They are your emotional reflexes. They are your default response to stress. They are your types of relationships you keep entering. The way you handle discomforts, rejection, boredom, success, all these things. Patterns are what you do without thinking. Patterns are what you do without thinking. They reveal who really is in control, your conscious mind or your conditioning. They reveal who is really in control. I like that line. They reveal who is really in control. Patterns. They reveal who is really in control. But here's the hard part. Your patterns are more honest than your personality. Your patterns are more honest than your personality. They are more honest than your self-image. They are more honest than your words. Because patterns don't lie. They show what you actually practice every day. They show what you practice every day. Again, to the line that says, patterns show who is really in control. Who is really in control? And if you look at your patterns, who are they showing to be in control? Who are they showing to be in control? But then, now let's look at, I said earlier on when I started this video that our future is not determined by our vision board, by our dreams, by our desires. Now I want us to look at why desire is weak without change. Why desire is weak without change. Desire is easy. Everyone wants a better life. Everyone wants more money, better relationships, peace, growth, purpose. But desire doesn't require transformation. Patterns do. In other words, you can desire to have a beautiful life regardless of who you are. Desires won't disqualify you of wanting that. But what will disqualify you from wanting a great life? It is your patterns. So what makes transformation to be a great need is not the desire itself, but it is the patterns that need to be in place for you to attain that desire. I'll say this again. Remember that desire doesn't require transformation. Patterns do. Because we all have desires. I say this again. We all have desire. We all want more money, better relationships, peace, growth, purpose. We all want that. Even the most evil person you can think of on planet Earth, they desire that themselves. But what disqualifies people from attaining that? It is not the desire itself, no. But what disqualifies that? It is that patterns require transformation for patterns to move from just being patterns that are controlling you and moving you, but to place you to a point where desires are reality. So that what makes desires weak is that desires, they don't require any discipline. They don't require any transformation, but it is patterns that require that. So you can want discipline, but still have a pattern of procrastination. You can want love, but still have a pattern of emotional unavailability. You can want healing, but still have a pattern of avoidance. And the future will follow the pattern, not the wish. The future will follow the pattern, not the wish. This is why people often wake up one day and say, how did I end up here? How did I end up here? Because we easily desire something, but our patterns are pushing us to the different direction. We are desiring a great life. We are desiring a great relationship, but our patterns are pushing us in a different direction. Hence I said, desires do not require transformation, but patterns do. Because patterns have this ability of not just forecasting us to where we want to be, but they drive us to where the pattern will lead you to be. Are you getting it? Now, remember that the future will follow pattern, not the wish, not the desire. The future follows the pattern, not the desire. This is why, I will say this again, this is why people often wake up one day and say, how did I end up here? Not realizing they've been rehearsing that life for years. They've rehearsing that life for years. Most destructive patterns survive because of passivity. Passivity is when you react instead of choose, wait instead of decide, enjoy instead of confront. It's not always loud. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like being chill. Sometimes it looks like being spiritual. But underneath, it's the same thing. You're not directing your life, you are drifting it. You're drifting in it. You are not directing your life, you're drifting in it. And drift always has a destination. You just didn't consciously choose it. Drift always has a destination. You just didn't consciously choose it. So I want to close this with this. On now the question that says how real change actually starts. How real change actually starts. Real change doesn't start with motivation, because motivation fades. It starts with pattern awareness. Not asking what do I want, but asking who do I keep repeating? What do I keep repeating? Who is this person I keep on building, brick after brick? You know, what situation keep me looping? What emotions keep me resurfacing? What lessons keep me returning? Because life repeats lessons until behavior changes. Life repeats lessons until behavior changes. Have you seen a person who's always failing on the same struggle? Because life repeats lessons until behavior changes. Growth is not about becoming someone new. It's about interrupting what keeps running automatically. I know people who used to struggle with alcohol. Today they are free from it. Did alcohol, did alcohol just vanish from the surface of earth when they wanted to stop? No, it didn't. What happened? They were willing to interrupt what keeps running automatically. They were able to rise above the challenge, rise above the pattern they automatically drift towards, and they were able to interrupt it, and they became changed, or they became new people. So what I'm trying to say is that whatever that you're seeing as an obstacle before you, it will not go away, by the way. It will always be there, because life keeps repeating lessons until behavior changes. Because life keeps repeating lessons until behavior changes. So until you are able to actually have a voice and say no and control yourself and change that pattern, unfortunately, the pattern will keep on repeating. So the moment you break a pattern, you break a future that was waiting to happen. The moment you break a pattern, you are breaking a future that was waiting to happen. But I would like to close like this. So if you want to know where your life is going, don't look at your goals. Look at your patterns. If you want to know where your life is going, don't look at your goals. Look at your patterns. Don't look at your goals. I remember that I once did a video where I said I had a dream. I also did recently an update, not an update, but a second video on a similar topic on it. And while we as Black people have that as a dream, but not as something we are willing to actively participate on, we'll always have it as a dream. If we as people will only have the life we wish to live, the liberty we want to witness as a dream, we'll only attain it as a dream, never as a lived reality. Because if you want to know where your life is heading, don't look at your goals, but look at your patterns. Because they are already telling you the truth. And the most powerful question you can ask yourself is this, or the most powerful question you can ask yourself is not, what do I want my future to be? That's not the question to ask. But the question to ask is, what future am I currently participating? What future am I currently participating? So to change your life, you have to interrupt something that is currently running in your life on automatic. You have to interrupt something that has been running in your life automatically. You have to interrupt something that you would easily choose for comfort and safety. You'll have to interrupt something that you have familiarized yourself with for over years and ages. You'll have to interrupt something that, by the way, it will not vanish from the surface of earth just because you're no longer choosing it. It will always be there. But you will be the one who would have changed the lesson into until the behavior is changed. Because life repeats lessons until behavior changes. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's episode. Hope you are blessed. Looking forward to having you on the following episode. This is Lunga Mr. Arthur Kumalo. You know I love you so much. Kindly subscribe. Tell your friends about this channel. I'm cooking something with my books. I really appreciate your support. Share this video. Kindly share it as much as you can. If you have me on TikTok or other social platforms, kindly share the videos. It will help us a lot. So thank you so much.